Hello and a warm welcome to Blue Spoon Veggie. Today I have 3 tasty topping ideas for flatbreads to share with you. These would be ideal for lunch, or you could serve them as a side dish with dinner, and they're all pretty simple to put together. Let's start with a zingy peri-inspired halloumi and red pepper topping with some lemony avocado. For this, we're going to mix up a tasty marinade for the halloumi with a few lively ingredients, starting with half a lemon. It's helpful to juice the lemon through a strainer into a small storage box that has a lid. I'll show you why in a minute. This lemon turned out to be particularly full of pips, so the strainer saves fishing them out later. Into my pip-free juice, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of honey, which will give a sweet balance to the sour, warm and fresh flavours of this marinade. In all things, let there be balance. Let me show you the rest of the ingredients now. This is ginger puree, just blended fresh ginger, and a grated garlic clove. I also have some chili flakes. These are chipotle, which has a lovely smoky flavour, paprika and dried parsley. I'll add all of those to the honey and lemon now. One of the great things about marinades is how accommodating they are to change. Vary the herbs and spices, use lime instead of lemon, and leave out anything you're not keen on. Give that a good stir to combine everything. A light sprinkle of salt, not too much since halloumi is quite a salty cheese, and the marinade is finished. I just wish I could share this amazing aroma with you. Let's bring in the halloumi now. This is half a pack, around 125 grams. It's packed in brine, so I like to use a sheet of kitchen towel when I'm slicing it. Slice the halloumi quite thinly into 6 or 7 slices. If you like, you could use paneer or corn pieces instead of halloumi. Then turn and slice into 3 in the other direction. Gather up the chopped halloumi, ready to mix with the marinade. In it goes, and this is where the lidded box comes in handy. Give it a good shake, and then put that to one side while we do a little light chopping. I'm using this beautiful red pepper today. Use whichever colour you prefer, and slice it nice and thinly. I'll be spreading some vibrant lemony avocado across the flatbread, so the red of the pepper is a lovely contrast to that. So let's start cooking the pepper slices now, and then I'll turn to making the avocado part of the topping. Heat up a little sunflower oil in a frying pan. Use a neutral tasting oil, like sunflower or vegetable, as there are a lot of flavours going on here already. Then over a medium heat, fry the sliced pepper for 5 to 10 minutes until it starts to soften. While that cooks, we can prepare the avocado. This is a large avocado, which as you'll see later on, was a bit too much for one flatbread. So if you made this recipe, I'd suggest using a smaller avocado. Peel your avocado. Such a fickle fruit, this is the best one I've seen for a while. When it comes to removing the stone, I prefer a gentle approach. If you're tempted to cut forcefully into the stone to pull it out, please do take care with your hands. Back to the pan now for a quick check on pepper progress and to give it a quick stir. Avocado chunks transferred to a bowl, season with salt and pepper. I like to season avocado quite generously to balance out the richness. Add a good squeeze of lemon. Thankfully the pips all seem to be confined to the other half. Strange how that happens sometimes. Then give that a gentle mash together. I think avocado is nicer just broken down a little, smashed to use brunch lingo, rather than crushed into a smooth puree, but follow your own instincts here. Avocado mash to my satisfaction. Let's return to the pan. The pepper has softened a little, so in goes the halloumi and all of that flavourful marinade. The halloumi doesn't need to marinate for a particularly long time because we'll be cooking all of the mixture anyway. This just lets the flavours develop, so the halloumi tastes as flavourful as possible. Give that a good stir, turn the heat up a bit and let it bubble away for a few minutes, until the halloumi is heated through and the marinade is reduced down. We don't want a soggy topping for our flatbread. You can heat up your flatbread while this is happening. I'm using these Persian style flatbreads. They're nice and soft, which makes wrapping them around a generous filling easy. They just need a light sprinkle of water and then grilled for a couple of minutes on each side. The liquid in the pan has reduced down now. The honey gives a good coating and a bit of shine to the peppers. If you don't feel like eating flatbreads, this mix is also very tasty, stirred through rice or couscous, or served on top of roast potato cubes. The flatbread is warmed up now, so it's time to bring back the crushed avocado and spread it across the bread. Leave a little border around the edge of the bread. It makes it easier to pick up the slices. I'll box up this leftover avocado and keep it chilled to use up later on. To make life easier, I'm always a fan of that philosophy. Slice the bread into 4 before topping with the halloumi and pepper. Or if you like, you could always slice again into 8 squares. Spread the colourful mixture across the slices. You can then redistribute the topping more evenly between the slices. Tongs are very useful for this kind of precision work. And that's this rather rustic flatbread ready to serve, full of colour and flavour. Today I'm serving up a couple of slices with more lemon for a light lunch. This would also make great garden food in the warmer months ahead. Speaking of which, spring has definitely arrived here in Edinburgh, and my cooking instincts are turning to lighter, fresher and often greener recipes. These pea fritters with spinach fit the bill perfectly and make an interesting flatbread topping. I'm pairing these fritters with baked sweet potato. Simply bake a medium sweet potato for around 45 minutes at 200 degrees C until tender. Once baked, the sweet potato can wait patiently until you make up the fritters and still be warm when you're ready to assemble the flatbreads. Sweet potato taken care of, let's make these mini fritters now. I'm using frozen peas. These are petits pois, which are very tender, and just defrosting them with boiling water for a few minutes. While the peas steep, I can get on with chopping some spinach leaves. These are baby leaves, delicate like the petits pois. If you want to use more robust peas and spinach, that's fine, but I would suggest using a food processor, so the fritters still have a nice texture. Chop until the spinach is very fine. I've drained the peas now, and I'm just gently mashing them in this wide pasta dish. Breaking them down a little helps the fritters fuse together as they cook. Peas gently roughed up, now tip in your chopped spinach. In goes some grated cheddar or other hard cheese of your choice. Some plain flour to help with that all-important binding. Garam masala. You can substitute other spices or dried herbs if you like. Some salt and pepper. Not sure why I always put pepper in first. A beaten egg, more binding power. Mix all that together thoroughly and you're ready to cook up the fritters. Fry teaspoons of your batter in a neutral oil. I'm using sunflower oil, and once they look set and golden around the edges, delicately flip them over and cook the other side for a few minutes. You can also make these fritters with sweet corn in place of the peas. Use the same quantity of either canned or defrosted sweet corn. I do prefer to use a blender for sweet corn, and you can just add all the other ingredients in there too. Remove them from the pan and line up in pleasing rows. Okay, that bit's not essential. And leave them to drain on kitchen towel. Continue to cook the rest of the batch. You'll get around 24 little fritters. Since this recipe needs a whole egg, it's difficult to make fewer fritters, even though my plan is to use just half of them on one flatbread today. The good news is you can keep the cooked fritters in the fridge for 2 or 3 days and reheat them in a dry frying pan. A bonus snack or side dish on hand for later is always a good thing. Now let's extract the vibrant flesh from the baked sweet potato skin. Spoon the soft flesh into a bowl. Mash it gently so you have a rough puree. Then I'm simply going to season this with salt and pepper. Got them the right way round this time. Stir that in and then we can warm up the flatbread. A quick sprinkle of water, don't be tempted to add too much, and then a couple of minutes on each side under the grill. Spread the warm bread with the seasoned sweet potato, leaving a little gap around the edges. Then slice into 4 or 8, or any number you like really. And top with the still warm pea fritters. If you'd prefer to serve this hot rather than warm, then leave the sweet potato in the oven while you make the fritters, and with a bit of assembly stealth, the components will be nice and toasty. I know warm food isn't for everyone. I quickly forgot my original plan to use 12 fritters in total, so after a bit of rearranging, these are divided evenly between the 4 slices. Green spring instincts in full force now. I decided to add a garnish of pea shoots and spinach and some lime wedges. A squeeze of lime really finishes off this dish nicely, as lime does with so many recipes. A bright and cheery dish full of fresh flavours, great for lunch, as part of a buffet, or as a side dish with dinner. And now let's move on to my final recipe in this video, harissa aubergine and goat's cheese flatbreads. In this simple topping, the flavour will come from rose harissa along with some passata. Pair those with aubergine, parsley and goat's cheese, and we're on to a winner. This time I'm using these round flatbreads, which you can heat up in a frying pan for a couple of minutes. Now let's get cooking. To start, heat a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in a large pan. Leave that to get good and hot, and we'll chop up the aubergine in the meantime. I love chopping beautiful shiny aubergines with their light, quiet flesh. Top and tail the aubergine, then slice into thin batons before cutting those batons into 2 or 3. Check the oil is hot, then pop all the aubergine sticks in. Give them a good stir in the oil and then fry them for 10 to 15 minutes. Stir the aubergine now and again. You want it to be thoroughly cooked through and softened. While that cooks, let's do some gentle mixing. Into the passata, I'm adding a teaspoon of the rose harissa. This is a medium spiced blend of paprika, chilies, lemon, spices and rose petals, and it tastes as heavenly as that sounds. Finish with a good sprinkle of salt. It's almost impossible to overcook aubergine. The flavour gets more delicious as the flesh caramelizes, and it is ready for the spiced passata to be added now. Do turn down the heat to avoid Stovegeddon when you're adding this vivid mixture. Stir through the aubergine and cook on a low heat for 3 or 4 minutes to warm through and reduce down slightly. While that simmers gently, I'll heat a flatbread in a dry frying pan for a couple of minutes on each side. And we're ready to serve. I have a couple of different serving ideas for this bread. First, pizza style with the harissa aubergine spread over the bread. Top with half of the goat's cheese round. You could use feta if you prefer. A generous sprinkle of parsley is the final touch. Another suggestion is to follow the pack's advice, folding and slicing the flatbread. So let's try that. Served with some tabbouleh-style bulgur salad, this works well as a light lunch. And thinking ahead to warmer months, this would be a quick meal that avoids heating up the kitchen too much. Thanks for watching. If you like, you can share any of your own flatbread topping ideas in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Take care of yourself, and bye for now.